Welcome to the Stoicism for Women channel. I'm speaking to you today as a woman, as a longtime student of philosophy who has watched the complex dance of love unfold, and as a fellow traveler on the path we all walk together. We live in a world that both glorifies romantic love and places countless invisible pressures upon women. From the fairy tales of our childhood to modern cinema, we're often taught that love is about sacrifice, about melting into one another, about finding our other half to finally become whole. But these very expectations can become shackles, causing us to lose the most precious thing we have, ourselves. Today, I want to invite you on a different kind of journey, a journey not of seeking perfection from the outside world, but of cultivating strength from within. Together, we will explore 10 principles for living and loving, inspired by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. This is not a philosophy of coldness or emotional suppression. On the contrary, it is a powerful toolkit to help us love more wisely, more freely, and more profoundly. It teaches us how to build an inner citadel so strong that we can open our hearts to love without fear of being swept away. So please, pour yourself a cup of tea, find a quiet corner, and let's explore how to become the architect of your own happiness, both in and out of a relationship.
Be a universe, not a satellite planet. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. The common pitfall. When a relationship begins, many of us have a tendency to turn ourselves into a planet, beginning to orbit the man we love. We give up our favorite yoga class because he wants to watch the game. We stop seeing our friends as often because he doesn't particularly like them. We change the way we dress, the way we speak, even our career ambitions, to better fit into his life and his desires. Little by little, we erase ourselves from the canvas of our own lives, believing this self-sacrifice is proof of our love. But in reality, it is self-abandonment. The Stoic perspective. This quote from Marcus Aurelius reminds us that true happiness is an internal product, created from our own worldview and inner values. You, in your entirety, are a unique universe, with galaxies of passion, constellations of talent, stars of memory, and entire solar systems of your own relationships. The quality of your thoughts is nurtured by this personal universe. When you become a satellite planet, you surrender your power to create your own happiness and hand it over to another's sun. You become dependent on his light and warmth for your own existence. But a truly mature and worthy man is not looking for a satellite. He is looking for another universe to explore alongside his own. How to embody your universe. Map your universe. Take out a pen and paper. Write down. What are 5 core values you will not compromise? What are 3 hobbies that make you lose track of time? Which friends are an essential part of your solar system? This is your map. Keep it close. Practice the and principle. Instead of either or, use and. I love you, and I also need time with my friends. I would love to travel with you, and I am also going to take that solo trip I've always dreamed of. Nurture your own passions. Never give up the things that light up your soul. Read books, learn a new language, join a dance class, write. These activities don't just make you a more interesting person. They are a boundless source of your own energy and self-confidence. When you are a vibrant and sovereign universe, you not only become more attractive to others, but most importantly, you feel whole and at peace from within. Love, then, becomes the magnificent intersection of two universes, not the dependency of one planet. Number 2. Don't let love become an obsession. The chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Epictetus. The common pitfall. Love can easily curdle into obsession. We constantly check our phones to see if he's texted back. We analyze his every word, his every action. We feel sick with anxiety when he goes out with his friends without us. Our minds become completely occupied by his image, his thoughts, his feelings. We mistake this obsession for deep love, but it is actually a symptom of insecurity and fear. The Stoic perspective. Epictetus gives us the master key to unlocking our minds. The dichotomy of control. The things we can control are our own thoughts, judgments, and actions. The things we cannot control include the thoughts, feelings, and actions of others, including the man you love. Obsession arises when we try to control what is uncontrollable. We want to control his affection, his attention, his fidelity. This futile effort is the source of all our suffering. Stoicism teaches that true love is not possession, it is appreciation. You can appreciate his presence, but you cannot own his mind or his freedom. How to love without obsessing. Anchor your mind. Whenever you feel yourself drifting into a vortex of anxiety about him, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this within my control? The answer will almost always be no. Then, consciously shift your focus back to what you can control. The work in front of you, the book you're reading, or simply your own breath. Create intentional pauses. Don't let every empty moment of your day be filled with thoughts of him. Schedule phone-free periods where you are fully immersed in an activity for yourself. This trains your brain to be happy without needing constant external validation. Replace control with trust. Build a relationship based on trust, not surveillance. Trust is not a blind leap. It is a conscious choice. You choose to believe in his good character and in your own strength to handle whatever happens. Freeing yourself from obsession doesn't mean you love any less. It means you are loving in a way that is mature, free, and infinitely more peaceful. Number 3, be the queen of your mental kingdom. It's not things that upset us, but our judgment about things. Epictetus, the common pitfall. Many women are raised to carry the invisible burden of emotional labor, constantly managing not just our own emotions, but his too. We soothe his anger, absorb his sadness, and silence our own needs just to keep the peace. Sound familiar? And here's the trap. We hand over the remote control to our emotions. One offhand comment from him, "That dress is okay, but you look better in blue." And suddenly, our confidence crumbles. His bad mood becomes our exhaustion. His thoughtless remark ruins our day. Why? Because we've let his words become our truth. The Stoic perspective. Your mind, your kingdom. But what if I told you your mind is a kingdom and you are its queen? The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said it best. No one can invade this kingdom without your permission. Think about it. Words, actions, even criticism, they're just neutral events. They have no power until we assign them meaning. The difference between a bruised ego and unshakable confidence? Your judgment. Let's break it down. The dress test. Scenario. You're wearing a new dress, feeling great, and ask for his opinion. He looks at it and says, "It's okay, but I think you look better in blue." Non-stoic reaction, handing him the remote. Your mind races. He hates it. I look awful. Why do I even try? I have no style. He's not attracted to me anymore. Result, you deflate. Maybe you even change outfits. His casual preference just dictated your self-worth. Queen's reaction, keeping the remote. You pause and realize, right pointing arrow, wait, he just shared his color preference. That's it. Right pointing arrow, I love this dress. His taste doesn't veto mine. Result, you just smile and say, "Thanks, but I'm really feeling this color today." Or toss back a playful, "Oh, you're a blue guy? Good to know. Maybe next time." No fuss, no overthinking, just a woman who owns her choices and her confidence. Number 4. Don't isolate yourself from the world. Man is by nature a social animal. Aristotle. The common pitfall. When love arrives, it can feel so overwhelming and wonderful that we begin to shrink our world until it's just big enough for two. Dates with friends become infrequent. Calls to family grow shorter. We create a love bubble and believe it's all we need. But when that bubble is met with turbulence, or worse, when it bursts, we find ourselves adrift in a lonely ocean. The Stoic and Aristotelian perspective. Aristotle was right. We are not islands. We need community to thrive. The Stoics shared this view with their concept of oikiosis, our natural affinity and connection to all of humanity. Our family, friends, and colleagues, they are the concentric circles that surround and support us. To sever these connections for one person is an act that is both unnatural and incredibly risky. Your support system is not in competition with your romantic love. It is the very foundation that helps that love stand firm. A man who truly loves you will never want you to abandon the people who loved you long before he ever appeared. How to maintain your connections. Schedule your friendships. Treat dates with your friends with the same importance as dates with your partner. Put them in your calendar. Friday, 8 p.m. Dinner with the girls. Don't cancel just because he makes a last-minute suggestion. Quality over quantity. If you're busy, focus on quality. One deep, 30-minute phone call with your mom is worth more than a dozen superficial texts. A 1-hour coffee date with your best friend where you truly listen to each other can refuel you for the entire week. Share the joys and the sorrows. Don't only reach out to your friends when you and your partner are fighting. Share your triumphs and joys with them too. This keeps your relationships balanced and strong. Your love life will be so much richer and more resilient when it is nested within a wider network of loving relationships. Don't ask one person to bear the full weight of your emotional world. Number 5. Your time is gold. Spend it wisely. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. The common pitfall. We cancel important plans of our own just to wait for him. We spend hours doing things he enjoys, but we don't. We put our free time in waiting mode just in case he needs us. We treat our time as an infinite resource to be sacrificed at the altar of love. The Stoic perspective. Seneca, in his essay on the shortness of life, points out a stark truth. Time is our only non-renewable asset. Once it's gone forever. Wasting time is worse than wasting money. The issue isn't about not spending time with him. The issue is how you are spending your time. Are you investing it in activities that bring mutual growth and joy, or are you squandering it in pointless waiting and activities that drain you? A Stoic woman understands that her time is the raw material from which she builds a life of virtue. Every hour is precious. She will be generous with her time for the one she loves, but she will also be fierce in protecting the time she needs for her own growth, her work, and her rest. How to spend your time wisely. Conduct a time audit. For 1 week, try to track how you use your time. You might be shocked to see how many hours are lost to scrolling social media, waiting for a text, or doing nameless tasks simply to please someone else. Set your golden hours. Identify periods in your day or week that are your golden hours for yourself. This might be an hour in the morning for exercise and writing, or an evening dedicated to a personal project. Communicate and protect these golden hours firmly but gently. Propose win-win activities. Instead of passively going along with his plans, proactively suggest activities you both enjoy. This turns your time together into a high-quality investment rather than a one-sided sacrifice. When you value your time, others will learn to value it too. You will teach him that you are a woman with a rich life of your own, and that the time spent with you is a privilege, not a given. Number 6. Share your past with wisdom, not with recklessness. First, tell yourself what kind of person you want to be, then do what you have to do. For in nearly every pursuit, we see this to be the case. Epictetus. The common pitfall. In the warmth of a new love, we feel a deep longing to be completely understood. Believing that total honesty is the bedrock of love, many women rush to unload their entire past, their traumas, their mistakes, their deepest secrets, onto someone who has only been in their life for a few months. This act, while well-intentioned, is sometimes like handing the keys to your most sacred vault to a stranger, without knowing if they are a dedicated guardian or a potential thief. The Stoic perspective. Your past, especially its most difficult and painful parts, is the very soil from which your strength and resilience have grown. It is a sacred and private garden. Stoicism, with the virtue of wisdom at its core, teaches us that not everything needs to be laid bare for all to see. Epictetus warns us about giving others power over our peace of mind. When you carelessly share your deepest vulnerabilities, you are handing them that power. An immature or ill-intentioned person could later use your story to judge, control, or hurt you. Wisdom is not found in hiding, but in discernment, knowing when, with whom, and to what extent to share. How to share wisely. Test the waters. Instead of throwing open the floodgates of your past, start by sharing smaller, less sensitive stories. Observe how he reacts. Does he listen with empathy? Is he judgmental? Does he respect your feelings? His reaction to these small tests will tell you if your trust is being placed in worthy hands. Share to connect, not to unload. Ask yourself about your motivation. Are you sharing to build intimacy and mutual understanding, or are you looking for someone to dump your emotional baggage onto? Intimacy is built slowly, over time, on a foundation of reciprocal trust, not through a single tell-all confession. Your story belongs to you. Even in the most intimate relationship, you have the right to keep parts of your garden for yourself. This is not deception, it is self-respect. A man who truly loves you will respect those boundaries. Vulnerability, when offered with wisdom, becomes the glue that bonds two souls. Vulnerability, when offered with recklessness, can become a double-edged sword. Be the wise narrator of your own life story. Number 7, the power of a gentle no. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Seneca, note. This quote addresses the imagined fear of saying no, the common pitfall. Society often teaches women to be agreeable, to be accommodating, to avoid conflict at all costs. The fear of being seen as difficult, selfish, or a buzzkill makes us say yes to things our hearts are screaming no to. We agree to see a horror movie we hate, attend a loud party when we crave a quiet night with a book, or take on more responsibility when we are already exhausted. We choose the short-term comfort of another's approval over our own long-term integrity. The Stoic perspective. We often suffer from the imagined consequences of saying no. We fear he'll be angry, he'll leave, he'll think less of us. But, as Seneca points out, these imagined fears are often far worse than the reality. A Stoic woman understands that saying no is not an act of aggression. It is an act of honesty and self-respect. It stems from the virtue of courage, the courage to draw boundaries and live authentically. A sincere and kind no is infinitely better than a resentful yes, because that yes will slowly curdle into resentment deep inside. How to practice the gentle no. The sandwich method. Start with a positive affirmation, state your no, and end with a solution or another positive statement. For example, I'm so happy you thought of me for that first slice of bread. However, I really need some time to myself tonight to recharge, so I won't be able to make it. The filling, the no. How about we catch that movie this weekend instead? The final slice. Start small. If you're not used to it, practice saying no to smaller requests first. No more wine for me, thanks. I can't talk on the phone right now, but I'll call you back later. Each successful attempt builds your confidence. Number 8. Learn to dance alone in your own room. As long as you live, keep learning how to live. Seneca. The common pitfall. The fear of being alone is one of humanity's most primal and powerful fears. This fear is so dangerous that it can cause us to cling to a toxic relationship, to accept the unacceptable, or to jump frantically from one person to the next just to avoid facing an empty space. We'd rather have a terrible someone than no one at all. The Stoic perspective. Stoicism does not see solitude as a deficiency, but as an opportunity. Seneca spent a great deal of time alone and wrote about it as a state for contemplation, for self-inquiry, and for connecting most deeply with oneself. They call this state autarkeia, self-sufficiency, finding fulfillment from within. Learning to dance alone is a metaphor for finding joy, peace, and meaning even when you are by yourself. When you can be happy on your own, you enter a relationship not as a beggar asking for affection, but as a queen who wishes to share the riches of her kingdom. You choose a partner because he adds to your already wonderful life, not because you need him to fill your emptiness. How to learn to dance alone. Date yourself. Schedule dates with yourself and take them seriously. Go see a movie you're excited about. Have dinner at a nice restaurant by yourself. Take a walk in the park. It might feel awkward at first, but you will gradually discover that you are actually very interesting company. Master a new skill. Use your alone time to learn something you've always dreamed of. Playing an instrument, painting, coding, gardening. The act of watching yourself improve and create something from nothing is an incredible source of confidence. Practice mindfulness in the silence. Sit quietly and simply observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. You will slowly realize that the silence is not scary. It is a space for healing and understanding. When you are no longer afraid of being alone, you gain the ultimate power in love. The power to walk away from anything that is no longer worthy of you. Number 9. Acknowledge inner progress, not just external milestones. No matter what happens, keep this in mind. It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Epictetus. The common pitfall. We often measure the success of a relationship by its external milestones. The first date, becoming official, getting engaged, getting married, having children. We compare our timeline to our friends and feel anxious if we're falling behind. We seek validation from these tangible achievements. The Stoic perspective. For a Stoic, a true win is not found in the external outcome, which is never entirely in our control, but in the virtuous action we took. Progress is not moving from single to married. Progress is when you are more patient today than you were yesterday, more courageous today than yesterday, more compassionate today than yesterday. Epictetus reminds us that our reaction is what matters. Celebrate these internal victories. Did you want to lose your temper but instead chose to take a deep breath and respond calmly? That is a victory for the virtue of temperance. Were you afraid to speak your truth but chose honesty anyway? That is a victory for the virtue of courage. Did you want to judge him but instead chose to listen and understand? That is a victory for the virtue of wisdom. These are the real bricks that build a resilient character and a strong relationship. How to acknowledge inner progress. Keep a virtue journal. At the end of each day, instead of just writing about what happened, write about how you responded. Acknowledge a moment where you acted in line with the Stoic virtues. Today, I succeeded in not checking his phone. I chose trust. Share your inner wins. When talking with a close friend, instead of only discussing problems in your relationship, try sharing, "I learned how to set a boundary more gently this week." This not only reinforces your progress, but can inspire others. Reward the effort. Celebrate these efforts. After a week of successfully practicing patience, treat yourself to a relaxing afternoon. You are training your brain to recognize that character development is the greatest reward of all. When you focus on the progress of your character, you will worry less about external timelines. You will find joy and pride in the journey of becoming a better version of yourself every single day. Number 10. Seek a partner in virtue, not a missing piece. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you are capable of improving. The process is a mutual one. Men learn as they teach. Seneca. The common pitfall. The myth of the missing piece, or the soulmate, is deeply ingrained in our culture. It paints a picture of someone who will come along and complete us, fill our every void, and make two halves into a whole. This belief is romantic, but it's also dangerous. It implies that we are inherently incomplete, and it places an impossible burden on our partner. The burden of being our everything. The Stoic perspective. Stoicism offers a much nobler and more realistic model. The virtuous companion, or a partner in virtue. This is not someone who completes you because you are already a whole individual. This is someone who walks alongside you, practicing and developing the virtues with you. Seneca advises us to choose someone whose character we admire. The ideal relationship is not two half people leaning on each other to stay upright. It is two strong pillars, standing side by side, holding up a shared roof. The relationship becomes a wonderful dojo, where both partners practice patience, courage, justice, and wisdom together. They challenge each other, support each other, and become better versions of themselves, together. How to seek and build a virtuous partnership. Observe character in action. Instead of focusing only on sweet words or charming looks, watch how he treats the waiter, his parents, his colleagues. Is he honest? Is he kind? Is he patient in the face of adversity? Character is revealed most clearly when no one is looking. Ask deep questions. Instead of, what do you like to do on weekends? Try questions like, what's most important to you in life? How do you define a good person? What did you learn from your biggest mistake? These questions open a door to his world of values. Evaluate shared growth. Ask yourself, being with this person, am I becoming a better person? Am I more patient, more compassionate? Does this relationship inspire me to grow? And conversely, am I being a good partner for his growth? Seeking a partner in virtue may not feel as dramatic as searching for a soulmate, but it will lead to a love that is profoundly deeper, more resilient, and more meaningful. It is a love built on a foundation of mutual respect, admiration, and a shared commitment to growth.